Hello, learners. So today we are working on analyzing graphs and answering questions. So our learning target for today is I can read a picture graph and answer questions about the picture graph. Our success criteria would be that I can answer questions and identify an equation with a variable for the unknown to go with the question and communicate step by step how I got my answer. So our picture graph today is located over here. The title is Panthers Elementary School Absences in January. It's really important that when you're taking a look at a graph that you're really thinking about what the graph means before you even go to answering the questions about it. So for example, looking at the title, Panthers Elementary School Absences in January, I can see that this is an elementary school. It's the absences, so we know that an absence is when somebody's not in school for the day, and it's for the month of January. So this is kindergarten and the kids that were absent in January 1st grade, kids that were absent in January 2nd grade, the number of kids absent. 3rd grade, the number of kids absent in January. 4th grade, the number of kids absent in January. 5th grade, the number of kids absent in January. There's also a key here, and it says for each of those little emojis, those sick face emojis, it represents 4 students. So this is not one student that was absent from kindergarten in January. This represents 4. So for example, so now that we've kind of gotten an idea of what the picture graph is about, let's take a look at the directions. Take out a piece of paper and solve these 2 problems below on your piece of paper. So make sure you get out a piece of paper when you're solving your problems. Then write your equations with a variable for the unknown and communicate your answer in each box below. Be sure to explain step by step how you found your answer. An example of how to communicate your answer is in the first box below. So our first question says, how many absences are there in 5th grade and 2nd grade, then 3rd grade? So many times when you're asked a question, you might have to reread it a few times in order to better understand what the question is asking of you. So I'm going to reread that question. How many absences? So again, an absence is when somebody is sick and they don't come to school for the day. How many absences are there in 5th grade and 2nd grade? Now, when it says 5th grade and 2nd grade, that and tells me that I'm going to need to combine the numbers that relate to those 2 things. So I'm going to be adding. So how many absences are there in 5th grade and 2nd grade? Let me see if I can rate. I can. So I'm going to grab, maybe I'm going to see if I can, no, I'll grab this. And it says 5th grade and 2nd grade. And you know what? Let me see if I can highlight. I'll try it like that. I'll try this like a highlighter. 5th grade. So 5th grade. Oh, that was huge. Well, that didn't work out very well now, did it? Okay, let me erase that and try that again. Let me make my highlighter a little tinier and see if that helps. So 5th grade, and 2nd grade. So we're going to be putting those numbers together. It says then 3rd grade. So I'm going to change my color and highlighter. Then 3rd grade. So when it says 5th grade and 2nd grade, that's going to be something that I'm going to be adding together. So I'm going to grab, I guess, this pencil and I'm going to be adding 5th grade and 2nd grade together. And then it says then 3rd grade. So the then 3rd grade means that I'm going to be comparing 5th grade and 2nd grade that you've combined to 3rd grade. I'm going to be comparing it. And a lot of times when we are comparing, we are typically subtracting in order to see the difference between the 2 numbers. So I'm going to see where it says than or then. This is where I know that I need to subtract. So when we're looking at this equation that's kind of already been provided for you, it says 5th grade and 2nd grade. So let's take a look at what 5th grade is. 5th grade is how many people were absent in 5th grade. I know that each of these little icons represents 4. So I'm going to count by 4s. 4, 8. So in 5th grade, there were 8 kids absent, and that's where that number came from for the 8. 2nd grade, let's take a look at 2nd grade, and we're going to count by 4s. So 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. So there's where that number 20 is for 2nd grade. So for 5th grade and 2nd grade, and notice how this is in parentheses because we want to make sure we add those two numbers together before we subtract 3rd grade from it. So we have parentheses. The parentheses tell us we need to do this part first. So we have 8 plus 20 minus, because we're going to be comparing 5th grade and 2nd grade to 3rd grade. So when you're comparing, you always subtract. So 3rd grade, let's count. So we have 4, and again, this key tells us that we need to count by 4s. 4, 8, 12. And that's where that number 12 comes from. So we have our equation equals n. And remember, when you're writing down a variable, like because we don't know how many more 3rd graders there are than 5th, or not are, but how many 3rd grade absences there were than 5th and 2nd grade combined. So we're going to put an n, or you could put an a, an l, an r. It doesn't matter what variable you use. So I'm going to go ahead and solve this equation now. And again, you're going to need to do it on like you would solve your work on a piece of paper, but then on here is where you would write the equation and you would communicate how you found your answer. So for example, first I need to do 8 plus 20. And I know that 8 plus 20 is 28. Now it says, so I already did 8 plus 20. I'm done with that part. And you know what? I'm going to put a little check mark here. I'm done with 8 plus 20. Now I'm going to take my sum and I'm going to subtract 12 from it. So I think I might do, I guess I'll do that right. Let me draw a little line here to separate it. So now I'm going to do 28 minus 12. Well, I know that 8 minus 2 is 6, and 2 tenths take away 1 10 is, hold on one second. Okay, 2 tenths take away 1 10 is 1 10. So our difference is 16. So what I would do here is I would write 16. There were 16 more absences in 5th grade and 2nd grade than in 3rd grade. So to find the difference and then I would explain there how I found the difference. And let me see if I can, yes, I can. How fabulous is, sorry, Miss Wagner's having a moment. So to find the difference and I'm going to explain how I found 16. So to find the difference I added, to find the difference, I really need to think about this step by step. So to find the difference, I first skip counted by fours to find the number of, to find the number of 5th graders and 5th graders, 2nd graders, and 3rd graders. Well, should I say, no, how about I just say 5th graders and 2nd graders? And I'm gonna put the Y in there. I know with some learners, some of the feedback that I've given you is it's super important that you explain each step and you give the why behind why that step, why you did that step. So to find the number of fifth graders and 2nd graders, notice how I have to keep backing up and rereading, and 2nd graders, I skip counted, okay. To find the difference, I first skip counted by fours to find the number of 5th graders and 2nd graders. I skip counted by fours because I guess it would be, it's a key, because that key over here, each emoji, each sad, each sick face represents 4 students. That would be called a key. So skip counted by 4s because the key shows each, I don't know, emoji or sick face. I'll say sick face. Each sick face, or each, I'm going to say emoji. Each emoji represents 4. Then I added, well, let me explain what I found. So I saw that there were 8 fifth graders, 8 sick fifth graders, 8 fifth graders, and 20 second graders absent in January. I added those 2 numbers together. I added, those 2 numbers together and found the sum of 28. Then I subtracted the number of 3rd graders from the combined 5th grade and 2nd graders, and I got the difference of 16. This part, yeah, let me see if it'll let me move this up. It will. I love technology when it works. Okay, so so I'm going to back up and reread to make sure it sounds right. Learners, make sure you back up and reread your work to make sure it sounds right. So there were 16 more absences in 5th grade and 2nd grade than in 3rd grade. To find the difference, I first skip counted by 4s to find the number of 5th graders and 2nd graders. I skip counted by 4s because the key shows each emoji represents 4. I saw that there were 8 5th graders and 20 2nd graders absent in January. I added those 2 numbers together and found the sum of 28. Then I subtracted the number of 3rd graders, and I'm going to add, I'm going to explain, which was 12 from the combined 5th grade and 2nd graders, and I got the difference of 16. So I'm not going to go over the second problem because I want to make sure you have plenty of time to get started on your work. But learners, this is what you'll be doing, is you will first take a look at the graph, make sure you understand and make sense of the graph. If you're not understanding the graph, make sure you go to an adult or another family member in your house and just kind of have a conversation with them about what you're seeing in the graph. Then you're going to take out a piece of paper and you are going to read the questions and do your work on the piece of paper. After you have solved and done your work on the piece of paper, then you're going to write down your equation with a variable for the unknown and then explain in words how you got that answer. I noticed some learners are forgetting to explain in words, not just an equation, but in words how you got an answer, so make sure you do that step. Okay, all right, great job. 3rd graders, keep persevering. I miss you.